Thanks a lot, Sonika Dhakal.
I want to welcome on stage Palesha Goverdhan. She is a proud Para-Olympian and the first Para-Olympic medalist from Nepal. She is a dedicated Taekwondo athlete and has represented Nepal on multiple international platforms. Her journey in Taekwondo has been fueled by passion for the sport and a commitment to pushing boundaries. Alongside with her athletic career, she is currently a second-year architecture student in Shanghai, China, balancing her love for sports with her academic aspirations. Welcome to the panel discussion. Second panelist today is Sudikshya Dongol. Sudikshya Dongol is an artist from Lalitpur. She is a recent graduate from Kathmandu University School of Arts. She founded Kalashala, a space to create, and what it creates we already saw. She has organized and participated in numerous workshops and exhibitions. Sudiksha's art is a celebration of experimentation with various mediums, breaking traditional boundaries and pushing the limits of what is possible. She often collaborates with community groups, bringing collaborative art projects to life that delve into the rich tapestry of human experiences. Our third panelist today is Arvind Das Joshi. Arvind is a fellow chartered accountant from ICAI with over 25 years of experience at Joshi and Bhandari, a top accounting firm in Nepal. He has worked with global firms like Arthur Andersen and Ernst & Young and expanded services to Afghanistan. After retiring as an executive partner in 2015, he continued providing advisory services. Arvind also led the successful turnaround and divestment of Himalayan Brewery and Trishakti Distillery between 2010 and 2019. He met with a tragic accident in 2012, and with rehabilitation, he leads an active life. He is involved in various social causes in the capacity as a treasurer of Spinal Injury Sangh Nepal and also an advisor to Spinal Cord Injury Network Nepal and Drug Free Society Nepal. So welcome once again everybody, and welcome all the audience in this auditorium today. First of all, the room looks really nice and welcoming with all the art pieces that's demonstrated here, showcased here today. And after watching that documentary, it's filling us with a different kind of aura, happiness, also excitement, little bit of sadness, but I think we are here to celebrate. So going back to Sudikshya, I want to start the conversation today. How did you start working with children with Down syndrome, and what has been your experience so far?
Okay. Thank you so much for the question. Am I being too loud? Okay, it's fine. I think I would like to start with my introduction, although you have given the introduction. Namaste, everyone. I am Sudikshya Dongol. I am an artist based in Kathmandu and a recent graduate from Kathmandu University School of Arts. I did my Bachelor's of Fine Arts, and I specify in creating art pieces, collaborating with different communities in Nepal, like old age group, children, and also communities with disabilities. And recently, I did a project in collaboration with people with Down syndrome, and my works are being displayed at this gallery. Besides that, I also have an art space called Kalashala. It's in Sanepa, and it's a space for everyone to learn, share, and create. But again, thank you so much for the question. I would like to give a little bit of background to how it started and why it started. It started way back, if I have to be honest. Started way back. I was 13, I think 12 or 13 years old, when I first met Shrava and all of them. My mom used to work in an organization called Sungava. She is present here. I went there with her. She was like, would you like to come with me? She used to go there once a week. I was like, why not? Let me just join her. I went there, and then I see a lot of different people there. Like, people who are very different and very special. Like, not bad way, not in a bad way, right? And then, as an introverted kid, I was a very introverted kid. I would not have believed that I would be sitting here talking to all of you guys. But as an introverted kid, I asked myself this question: why are they so different? How do they see this world? That question is how it led me to creating these art pieces. So years and years and years of curiosity led me here. And for my BFA final project, I collaborated with students of Mika, Nepal, as they were also shown in the documentary. So what actually inspired me was their drawings. Every artist needs an inspiration, right? And for me, it was their drawings. Their drawings are so unfiltered, so raw. I don't know, they've taught me a lot of things. They've taught me that perfection should never be the goal. And I think that is the reason I create artworks inspired by them. I trace their drawings and handwriting to narrate their stories. So I have 3 different storybooks: Shrava, Rita, and Rinjin's. I think we can talk about it more later, but I think I would like to say this much for now.
Thank you. Talking about experience, we come to you, Palesha. Can you share your experience as a para-Olympian? How was the journey like to be able to represent Nepal in an international arena?
The journey has been simply a roller coaster ride because it wasn't easy. Firstly, because a person with a disability, they have a lot of barriers, especially the physically and societal. When I was young, people used to like stare at me like, they don't know, they used to see my disability first, and as a result they used to underestimate what I was capable of doing. So but I didn't let none of that get into me. My parents were really supportive. I'm really fortunate to have them in my life, and they really pushed me to be what I am today, and I'm really happy that they pushed me, because I used to give up really easily. Because people used to say, oh, you cannot do it, yeah, this is not what you should be doing, but my parents were always like, no, this is how you should be doing, and this is the only way you are going to do. So that's how I'm here today. And all of you out like watching and audience, I want to say that is just keep believing in yourself. You know, life is tough. Yes, you'll fail a lot, but you have to rise and just keep kicking. That's what I did. That's what I believed, and I still do. And yes, the journey is simply inspiring. And people now take me as an example, and I think that's the biggest reward for me.
Great. Coming to you, Arvindji, from an active, sporty chartered accountant to being on a wheelchair, how did you accept this change? How has your life changed since then?
Palesha, when I see you, is like when you talk about disability, you know, like some people are born with disability. Like for myself, you know, I was disabled at a much later stage in life, when I was 47. So that's when my accident, it called me a spinal cord injury. And I think everybody should know about disability, because maybe I was ignorant when I was in my active life about disability. There's different kinds of disability, and this creates barriers. So they're not included in society, and the question of accessibility and inclusion, opportunities, all this kind of thing arise. In my case, at 47, I would say I've seen life, right from childhood, teenager, professional life, getting married with kids, and after the accident is like now getting back to my normal self, how I could be normal again, despite my barriers. I use a wheelchair, and with spinal cord injury, I think everybody should know. I'll just give a brief introduction. We have, 33 bones or, parts in a spinal cord. And inside the spinal cord, there's a nerve that, connects your brain to the tip of a toe. So there's millions of, neurons and nerves. In my case, I had my accident it's called cervical, which is even dangerous when you have an injury in cervical level. Then you have a thoracic level. There's 13 vertebrae, and mine was in the 5th or 6th. Then there's a cord. There's a bunch of nerves, The bone is the spinal cord, and inside is the spinal cord. So when these nerves are damaged, then you have a serious kind of spinal cord injury. Some are lucky, they don't get paralyzed. I'm paralyzed from chest down. So there are different features in spinal cord injury, like lack of muscle control, lack of feeling of sensation of urination or bowel bladder, and things like that. Even feeling touch. I didn't feel anything here, and I have pain, but it's neuropathic pain, nerve-related pain. So let's not get into too much details in that, because how I changed is the rehabilitation. First thing after spinal cord injury is to getting the medical treatment. You have to be stable medically. Then after a few days, then you have rehabilitation. And then Sonika here, Ram, we all are spinal cord injured people. Some much earlier than me. Like Sonika was 20 years, mine is only 13 years. So all these things are there. But now to be active, because when you think of my brain works, I don't have a traumatic brain injury, so my brain works, my hand works, I can use my computer. So actively, in terms of being a professional chartered accountant, I could still work and provide services to my clients. But the only thing is the accessibility, If a client is in a building where I need to be carried, then it's not accessible. Inclusiveness, if I talk in terms of inclusiveness, I don't think I had any issues regarding inclusiveness, because people knew me, who I was, and what I did, so that kind of discrimination was not there. But when in terms of physical, accessing the facilities, the offices, that's where I think Palesha also, I think she's studying architecture. The question of universal design is required. When I see a step, that's a barrier for me. And when I see a ramp, that's inclusiveness. So everybody can use, like me. Maybe with people with visual impairment, you might need certain kind of, signs, Nowadays, when you see the pavements at Kathmandu around, so you can see the little, grooves kind of thing. That's for people with visual impairment. So if you're talking about how I changed my life, rehabilitation was the main key. And there were peer counselors who motivated me that you could, the first thing they should, you may not be physically the same before, but you can do what you had been doing earlier. So that is the thing. Rehabilitation was the key for changing my life.
Thank you, Arvindji. As humans, I think, also as Nepalis, we tend to complain a lot and we forget to celebrate what we have. So we celebrate all of you today here on our stage, Ram and Sonika and Shrava and so many others in this room. We salute you and we celebrate you today with all our heart. But still there are lots of challenges that we face every day, like Arvind said. Some knowingly, some unknowingly, there are always barriers in the society. Physical barriers, mental barriers, societal barriers. So talking about barriers, I want to ask Sudikshya ji, what are the current challenges in Nepal when we talk about inclusion through art as what you have practiced, you know? There must be challenges. Would you like to share that with us?
If we start talking about challenges, I think the night will not end. But if I have to address a few, I think people underestimate people with disabilities or people who are differently abled. While I exhibited my work at Nepal Art Council, I got a lot of feedbacks, you know, some good, some bad. Some people came, just look at my work and they're like, "Yo to jole pani garna sakcha," and then left. And then they didn't even try to understand what my art actually is. So something that the main challenge would be like people are not trying to understand what it actually is. But at the same time, there were people who came back again and again, 3 days in a row, to understand my art better. So I think things are changing, but then it's a challenge as well. The other thing would be like, I don't know, I think people trying to understand is the main thing that I want to say. Besides that, about my artwork, I think underestimating is something that people usually do, but because we did a workshop recently, and then it was an inclusive workshop. There were people students of Mika involved in the workshop, and the way that they interacted with the students, I'm so happy. I can see so many familiar faces here from the workshop. Thank you so much for being so interactive with the students of Mika during the workshop. I think the challenges are now being a part of solution. So I would not like to address that this is the challenge, blah, 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 but I mean, just seeing the better side here. So that's it.
We all have the power to act. So same question to you. Of course, there are barriers like what she said about how people perceive what you are doing and bichara, ho ra garna sakcha ra, you know, all that thing is there. Do you want to add something when we talk about inclusion in sports? Other challenges, because you probably faced a lot when you were representing Nepal also. So please touch on that.
So for me, inclusion is like accessible buildings. It's not just about that. It's about opportunities, equality, empowerment, and so much more. So in sports, if I have to talk like sports kai barema भन्नु पर्दा, so in sports, so for para players, we don't have accessible buildings, accessible courts, even basics like toilets. It's really difficult for them to use anything for changing room, you know, shower room. So all these things are really important. It's really basics, but people like ignorant and ignore garsa, like unale adjust garsa, like they need to adjust once. So it's just like they don't want to accept, like it should be normally, you know, it can change garnu paryo jasto huncha, but it's really basic and it's really sad to see. And ahilesamma pani there's no yati राम्रो development chai bhako chaina. But after I won the Paralympics, people like इच्छुक छ हैन मैले के गरिरहेछ, like Paralympic पनि छ है, उहाँहरूले पनि गेम खेल्छ भनेर चाहिँ आइरहेको छ. So I'm hopeful फ्युचरमा चाहिँ नि अब पारा गेम्सको अझै पनि प्रगति हुन्छ. उहाँले अब गभर्नमेन्ट फाइनान्शियली नै हो सबै कुरा, लास्टमा फाइनान्शियलबाट नै सल्युसन आउँछ. So definitely फ्युचरमा केही हुन्छ होला, but right now the situation is not so good for para athletes.
We hope that things will change and we will again like work together to bring that change. Arvind ji, coming to you as an active member of the Spinal Injury Sangh Nepal, what role does sports play at your center, and what are your current challenges when we talk about rehabilitation through sports?
I have a paper because I don't want to forget some keywords here, because you tend to forget all these kind of things. So sports and arts, both of these are very important especially for people with disability. And first of all, the kind of self-development and someone who is active certainly is a person who gets disability. Then again, you cannot do all kind of things. So that's where all these sports, adaptive sports and things are there nowadays. Because for people with spinal cord injury, we have a basketball league nowadays. People, you might not know, but you only know of football and cricket and all these kind of things. But those in wheelchairs, all in the 7 regions of Nepal, there are people on wheelchairs playing basketball. And there's a league also, a competitive sports, different. Even for army and police, they have their own team. And like spinal injury, at Jorpati also, they have their own team. And Jaulakil, also they have their own team. Basketball is one thing. Besides that, there's swimming also. Now, with the help of one institution in US, they're doing wheelchair rugby also. That's for people with quadriplegic. Those whose hands are, muscle control in the hands are, less. So those who can control, they play basketball. Those who can't control their hands, then they play rugby also, on wheelchairs, that is. So that is there. I forgot your question. Challenges. Now, the challenges are, when you talk in terms of disability, one is there are three points here. Intrapersonal is the self, how they feel the challenges. The intrapersonal, you could say, the attitude, your own attitude, your mood, and the stress and skill level. Then there's the interpersonal, how the society thinks you are. Like the challenges you faced also from the society, and you cannot do it. Like for us on wheelchairs, yes, we cannot run around or walk and do all those kind of physical things, but we can still roll around and play basketball also. Then there's the structural constraint, is the question of where there is only steps. That's a barrier for us. Then when there's ramps, then it's easier for us to access buildings, access to sports facilities, access to studios where they can go and do their art or things like that. So these are the few challenges that we face. But let's be positive. The situation is much better now in Nepal than 20 years back. Like you are showcasing your art with your people with Down syndrome. That may not have been 30 years back. Now people are more acceptable about people with it. We are no different. It's because when I think in terms of my disability, I think I'm normal. The only thing is my condition is different than what I was 10 years back. One accident caused from being a very active or active person physically to an active person still, but not physically active.
Thank you. That's a very positive statement there, Arvindji. Sudikshya ji, I want to ask you, how is your work different than other artists? What other artists they're doing compared to what other artists are doing, and where do you see yourself in next few years with all that positivity?
Okay. How am I different from other artists? I think we're all very different. Talking about art, people think that art should be eye-pleasing, aesthetically pleasing, realistic, chitikka pareko, ramro. For me, it's not that. Art is an expression for me. Sanedekhi nai I started with doodling, scribbling around the pages. It all started as an introverted kid. I used to scribble a lot. And I think art is a medium of self-expression for me. And in my artworks, I feel like I've expressed what I've built with them over the past years. Like the connection that I built with them is what I've expressed. So my work say it's not gonna be chitikko or like ramro, perfect. This doesn't I don't believe in perfection. That's what they've taught me. And I think that's the reason it's different from other artworks. I feel like collaborative art is something that hasn't been seen much in Nepalma. I've seen a lot in international platforms, but Nepalma bistare airako cha hola. And I would love to see more collaborative art projects or like artworks. And talking about future, I think I would like to continue what I'm doing. I don't want to be very futuristic, I just want to keep on doing what I'm doing, and I feel like one step at a time I'll reach to a point where I feel proud of myself. I am proud of myself, but like small achievement, you know. अहिले मेरो project हेरेर मान्छेहरूले Down syndrome को बारेमा त थाहा पाए पनि I feel like that's like I've achieved something जस्तो feel हुन्छ. So yeah, not being too futuristic, I think I will continue what I've been doing, one step at a time. Yeah, with all of your support, I feel like I'll reach somewhere in one point. Thank you.
Definitely you will. Thank you. And Palesha ji, as a para-Olympian, what message do you want to give to young people out there?
My only message is to just keep believing in yourself. Don't give up. किनकि जब मैले taekwondo सुरु गरेको थिएँ, I was just 10 years old. I was madly in love with taekwondo, and my parents were even crazier. I mean, they were one that believed in me, and I want to tell all the parents out there to believe in your children's dream, because they believed in my dream, and my dream today, I live in that dream. I'm living it. And अब यही जर्नीमा जुन पनि फिल्डमा होस्, whether it's art, sports or any other thing, failure त आइहाल्छ हैन. अनि आफ्नो बच्चाहरूले गर्न सकेन, अब हार्स यसले मलाई रिजल्ट दिँदैन भनेर चाहिँ नि नभन्नुस्. Like, keep supporting. Even I lost so many games. I lost one Olympic, like, duh. But yet, I still worked hard for 4 years, and here I am today bringing Nepal's first ever Paralympic medal, and my parents are the proudest because they believed in me, and I want all of you to believe in your child's dream as well. And yeah, anything is possible if you are crazy and madly in love with what you're doing. Thank you.
Wow. Living with crazy parents is something that is, you don't have words to explain, and I think my daughters here will agree with me, probably raising their eyes. And I wish you all the best, Palesha ji. And Arvind ji, as a visionary member of SISN, what are your plans for future? Or first, do you have a piece of advice for young people out there?
No, don't call me visionary, but in terms of when I my experience with disability, you know, like I wish I had done more for people with disability, because I also had a niece, a sister, cousin sister, who had intellectual disability as well as physical disability. You know, like initially when it was possible, my aunt used to bring her to our house because, you know, some functions and so. But once she grew older, it was very difficult for my aunt to bring her. So she was like totally excluded from our society. I used to be quite surprised, like, why is she not here? And, you know, because as a kid. But eventually then I got to know that it's very difficult, because places were not accessible, you know, a wheelchair would not come, and, you know, it was very difficult to commute or take her to these places. So eventually at the age of, I think, 30 or 40, she passed away. And then again, during the funeral, we had to go. And I felt really sad, because I wish I had visited my aunt a lot more, you know, and, you know, tried to support her emotionally or physically. So, like all of you here, you're here, very able-bodied, maybe I would say, and there are people with disability who are facing challenges, barriers every day of our life here, you know, and yeah, being positive. Things have got a little better, but there's still so much work to do. You know? And the way I see it myself, my personal goal would be to do as much as possible for people with disability, and like you're working with intellectual disability. I'm working with not only physically, but mine is a neurological condition also. So there's people with visual impairment. They face their own challenges. People with cerebral palsy and like the people like children with Down syndrome, they can communicate now, because they're taught that's kind of rehabilitation. Like and for us, like Sonika, she's a para swimmer, though she uses a wheelchair. Ram is a very good singer. He didn't sing, but he just danced here. So there are different forms of art where they express themselves. So as part of the society, as citizens, fellow citizens, we need to encourage them as much as possible, motivate them. And in terms of accessibility, that's where the government should play a much active role, making buildings accessible, public places, temples, churches, wherever, accessible as much as possible, so that it is based on universal design and anybody can go, anybody. You don't have to differentiate. In terms of disability, I think for those with disability, they shouldn't feel anything different. It's just a condition that you have, maybe genetically or maybe through accidents. So you're normal. You're a fellow human being, and you are a fellow citizen. That's the attitude that you need to take, and that's where I want to, motivate younger generation. I'm old now, so younger generation to be encouraged, motivated, like people like Palesha here. See them and take life forward, do something with your life.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody, for sharing your experience with us. Is there anything that you would like to say that I didn't ask? Oh, I forgot to say this, and nothing like that. Okay, so maybe we should, because we have to enjoy the night, there is a lot more to look forward to. I want to now open the floor to the audience. Is there anything that anybody would like to ask our panelists or even share? Please feel free. You can raise your hands and we'll pass on the mic. छ कसैलाई केही भन्नु छ, केही शेयर गर्नु छ? I mean, यति धेरै कुरा हेरिसक्यौँ, exhibition, movie, कुरा गरिसक्यौँ उहाँहरुसँग. If there is anything that you would like to share. Okay.
Or I can use my voice. Hi, my name is Subi. I part of Queer Honky Tonk, which is I doing performance arts for the queer community. I actually had a question for you, Sudikshya. I've noticed that in all the art pieces, most of them they're very tactile. I assume maybe is there a reasoning, that inspiration of why you would want to put more texture on pieces?
Okay, yeah. I'm so glad that you noticed that. I love experimenting with different mediums, and textile has been something that has been very interactive, Textile is something that we can touch, we can feel. I mean, like, we can stitch it, we can tear it, like, do whatever you want with it, right? So also to mention, in Shrava's works, the books that I've showcased here, I've used their old clothes, their old shawls, their old kurtas to create the art pieces, the collages. So in my artwork, each and every little bits of pieces means something. And the reason behind why it is touchable, why it's like, because most people don't let you touch the art. I do. Maybe that's the reason my artwork is different. I let them touch my art. I let them do whatever they want with my art. It's a part of the process. So I think that's the only reason. I just want to make it more interactive, and I enjoy when people interact with my work. Yeah. I hope that answers your question. Yes. Okay.
Is there no more? Okay.
Hello. My question is to Palesha ma'am. So you are definitely an Olympic athlete, and I want to know, why did you go for Taekwondo? Like, it's a really competitive sport and need a lot of action, or just great courage to even practice and all that. Yes.
Because I chose Taekwondo because first it was introduced in my school. So it was introduced as an extracurricular activity. So we had to choose from music, dance, and martial arts. And from very young age, I'm a really naughty kid. I used to kick my sisters all the time. So it was a perfect thing for me. And and also, so I was really, so I've always been into kicking. I used to kick and punch way before I was introduced to Taekwondo. And when I first got to know about Taekwondo is introduced in my school, I was like I asked my mom, like, can I take it? And she was like, sure. And she was like, promise me you'll not kick your sisters after the classes. I was like, sure, I'm going to kick everyone in the class. And the first thing that I did was kicked all the boys in the in my Taekwondo station. And that's how I got into the eye of my coach. And my coach was like, oh, she kicks really well. And before I knew, he just suited me up in Taekwondo, like guards, and I was already in the mat fighting with boys, and that's how I started my Taekwondo.
Good evening, everyone. मेरो क्वेसन चाहिँ पलिसा म्यामलाई, लाइक यहाँ बस्दा बस्दै मेरो माइन्डमा एउटा समाजमा, हाम्रो नेपाली समाजमा घटेको एउटा घटनाहरू मलाई याद भयो. लाइक आइ एम फ्रम तराई रिजनमा चाहिँ कस्तो घटना पनि मैले देखेँ भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ तपाईँको भिजुअली इम्पेयर्ड जो आँखा देख्न सक्नुहुन्न उहाँलाई चाहिँ लाइक समाजमा केही जुन नराम्रो मेन्टालिटी भएको मान्छेहरूबाट उहाँप्रति के किसिमको शारीरिक शोषण भएर उहाँ तपाईँको पछि गएर उहाँको लाइफ एक त अलरेडी उहाँ भिजुअल इम्पेयर भएर गाह्रो भएको थियो, त्यो पछि त्यस्तो भइसकेपछि अझ उहाँको लाइफ हेल जस्तो पनि भयो. एज पलिसा म्याम, सी वाज इन अ taekwondo स्ट्रिम. सो इज देयर एनी आइडिया द्याट वी क्यान मेड दोज पिपल एन्ड टु टट देम सेल्फ डिफेन्स हामीले उहाँहरूलाई कसरी गर्न सक्छौँ, अथवा यसरी गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ दे क्यान बी प्रोटेक्टेड है, अथवा त्यस्तो कुनै तपाईँले त्यस्तो आइडिया छ भने यु क्यान जस्ट वर्क अन द्याट भन्न चाहन्छु. र त्यसमा समाजमा चाहिने किसिमको होइन सपोर्टहरू चाहिन्छ भने विल देयर टु हेल्प यु एज वेल. थ्याङ्क यू सो मच.
हजुर, त्यस्तो पनि सिकाउँछ हामीले. हाम्रो स्पोर्ट्स, अब हामीले पारा स्पोर्ट्स भन्यो होइन, पारा स्पोर्ट्समा अब खालि व्हिल चेयर गेम्स, डिसेबल, डाउन सिन्ड्रोमको मान्छेहरूले पनि स्पोर्ट्स खेल्छ. हाम्रो भिजुअली इम्पेयर्ड फुटबलहरू पनि छ, ह्यान्डबलहरू छ, टेनिसहरू छ, सबै स्पोर्ट्स छ. तर मान्छेहरूले थाहा हुँदैन कि अब आँखा छैन तर कसरी खेल्छ भन्छ. आँखा नभएको लाइक ओलम्पिकमा भिजुअली इम्पेयर्डहरूले चाहिँ नि रनिङ म्याराथन हुन्छ उनीहरूको, फुटबल हुन्छ. सो सबै डिफ्रेन्टली एबल पिपलहरूको लागि सबै स्पोर्ट्सहरू एभाइलेबल छ कि. तर मान्छेहरूले अब थाहा नभएर पनि हो, त्यसको बारे अब धेरै एडभर्टिजमेन्ट पनि गर्दैन नि. अब गभर्मेन्टबाट अब ओलम्पिकको पनि त्यति हामीले सुनेको हुँदैन नि, को गइरहेछ के गइरहेछ भनेर. तर सबै हुन्छ कि. आई थिङ्क मोर अवेरनेस चाहिँ नि चाहियो कि. अब गाउँ गाउँमा गएर सबैले लाइक भन्यो भने त सबैलाई त इन्ट्रेस्ट होला नि होइन. सबैलाई लाइक गेमैमा इन्ट्रेस्ट नभए पनि केही न केही आफ्नो अब लाइफको लागि के गर्ने भनेर पनि हुन्छ. सो आई थिङ्क अवेरनेस एकदमै इम्पोर्टेन्ट छ.
For her, because she's working in arts for people with, children, people with Down syndrome. What about with autism, with cerebral palsy? Can you work or, what are the different forms for art or sports, both of them.
Talking about autism, I do have a student who is autistic and she is present here today, Sama. Mikama चाहिँ we do have autistic, deaf र Down syndrome भएको students-हरु हैन. त्यो बाहेकको चाहिँ I have not worked yet, but I would love to work in future. So yeah.
So since I don't see any hands raised, we should probably close this discussion, and because we are all talking about all the good things we have achieved, I want to share something. You just saw Ramji dancing here in the stage, and out of the 4,500 people, the person with spinal cord injury that I have come across with, he's one person who says, I'm lucky to have a spinal cord injury. म भाग्यमानी रहेछु, मलाई चाहिँ मेरुदण्ड पक्षघात भएर म व्हीलचेयरमा बस्न पाएँ because my whole life has changed. म मान्छे भएर जन्मिनुको तात्पर्य बल्ल मैले बुझेँ, because in his simple normal wheelchair, not even electric, not even sports, or not even fancy, he has gone from Namo Buddha to Lumbini, from Lumbini to Bodh Gaya, and also from east to west of Nepal. So while you are having your drink, you can calculate how many kilometers that is. And since we are here to celebrate each other and uplift each other, let's keep doing that throughout the evening and also in the coming days. And I'm sure if we are helping each other, which we are, we will be able to create a much inclusive society. And happiness is just a state of mind, I guess. So we're all happy, and let's enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you so much, everybody. You wanted to ask a question? Okay.
So, hello, good evening, everybody. So, मेरो चाहिँ question भन्दा पनि एउटा appreciation हो. So, I'm actually a second generation manufacturer, Black Earth Industries बाट. अनि currently हाम्रो चाहिँ एउटा new factory space बन्दैछ हैन. अनि I have been advising my parents on this and that, things not to be forgotten, things like that. But this event has actually cemented on my mind the idea of inclusivity, the universal design, and how each and every people of every community shall be included in empowerment and all. So really grateful for that. Thank you.
Yes, you have the power to act. We all have. Let's enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you so much, everybody. And thank you, panelists, once again.
Thanks a lot, Esha, for moderating this panel discussion. Thank you also to Palesha, Sudikshya, Arvind, also Luja, Sonika, Ram, all the people involved in this evening. I invite you now to enjoy the exhibition realized by Sudikshya and all the participants last Wednesday, right? What we are seeing here was done last Wednesday in this inclusive workshop. So please take time for that. And I think it's also time to pay a tribute to all the differently able people. I learned a nice word today, and I think it's time to pay a tribute to them and to all of them in Nepal and around the world. Yeah.